Ka turuturu mai rā te arohai. Ka heke mai rā I te puna o te waiora. Kia tāne nui te kai te aki e. Ka turuturu mai rā ki te iwi. Ki te iwi.
This is a special project because we're working together to develop a community model for restoration. We're working with the private landowners, the councils, tangata whenua, and all the residents that live here, plus a pony club, all the land holders associated with Avoca Valley. As a group, it's a large group of interested people. If we can work together, it's really going to establish a process that could be used elsewhere in New Zealand.
In terms of the knowledge of the area, the people of the time referred to the waters that came through from the water cycle through rain, snow, hail and so forth, named the waters as ngā irika or ka irika or kahukura, or the flowing tears of kahukura through the water. The main usage of this valley was one of source of vitality here from the springs, and also from the coverage, the vegetation coverage there as well, to provide living materials and to provide clothing and food there, as well as materials for ceremonies or rituals.
So as we follow the stream down through Ihutai, because this will be all part of the Ihutai reserve, and so as we follow the stream down and as the stream meanders, we can actually look at the state of health of the stream as we follow its journey down. Now, looking at today's health of the stream, we've actually been as far down as the motorway to Littleton, and we've actually seen the difference between the health of the stream here in the valley and the health of the stream as it meanders through the industrial and farming sectors, which then brings us to the question of how do we maintain our streams and how do we get the community to be part of the living environment where the health of the streams in particular, because they are the waterways and they are part of our health, and the status of our health is reflected in the waters, the living waters of Tāne. Kia ora tātou.
In the Depression years, in the early 30s, perhaps around about 31, well, my father brought some market gardening land up here. Well, I can remember the stream was pretty well covered with flax, and not many no natives that I can remember, but just basically flax. And there were, frogs, and the odd eel used to come up here and you'd hear the croaking at various times in the night. But with the introduction of cattle, that changed things. They ate all the flax out, and so you have more of just a tussock surrounding the stream now as to where there was once great stands of flax.
During drought time, cows ate the flax and that disappeared. So Gavin and I would hope in the future with the group that we're working with that we'll get native plantings all up the edge, and that'll help stop the erosion and be more aesthetically appealing, and retain the water so that it's always a trickle but never a flood, you know. And then if we've got water retained, then we hope to introduce wildlife. You know, you can get the birds and the ducks and the things that used to be here, which can't survive here now all year because you have such long dry periods. Sort of use the creek as an ecosystem so that it belonged to the valley rather than being this functional place for water to pass through.
And the interesting thing is that here we are in the middle of a city too, and this is a modified natural environment in the city, and there is a place for both nature and people.
Yeah.
And this project could demonstrate just how the two can work in together.
Yeah, and it's neat too that it comes from the difficult country, the Port Hills, is all that eroding country on the hills, and it's farmland, and just in a short few kilometres we're in that rural complex eroding stuff through communities and built environment, through horticultural areas with all the pressure of that, and then down here into sort of the industrial part of Christchurch and into the estuary. So we've got a whole lot. It's sort of lots of New Zealand sort of concertinated into a few kilometres, which is great to have a model project, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's so special, I think it needs looking after, both not only for us but for the future generations. And that means a lot of work on everybody's part and care, and to see that it actually doesn't get destroyed. It means that building's got to be done sympathetically, planting has got to be sympathetic to the valley and perhaps what was here before, since there's nothing left. And it just is, I mean, you can hear there's nothing. It's just quiet, peaceful birds and the animals.
We have a lot of bird life here. We have pekekos. Sometimes we get the herons. We get a lot more brown ducks are coming back into the area with the cleaning up of the estuary. And I feel that this section is just so important because with the estuary, it's only one of 4 main ones in the South Island. It's used as a breeding ground, as a migration station for birds. It's just so important that what comes out of the Avoca Valley stream is not harming all those things further down there. And it would be just so nice to have it back as it originally was. You know, with flax and native bushes here, there and everywhere, and hopefully that will enhance the area. It'll hopefully provide an area where kids from urban places can come and have a look and see what's going on, how it should be, instead of like that. What is in the dump I really don't want to think about, because it was used at that time when people weren't terribly environmentally aware, and there could be some nasty stuff in there that could be leaching into the soil, and it frightens me to actually think of what is in there.
We felt that the vision for the future, if we all had a good vision for it, I mean, we think, Victoria and I, that it is one of the premier places in Christchurch to live. At least so we get the bellbirds, we get the kingfishers there, the fantails, a lot of wood pigeons would hopefully come in. We get less erosion, which means more water containments, less flooding. The walkways where we... another thing is, with Christchurch spending so much recently on, say, the convention centre and the entertainment centre, it would be a very big thing for Christchurch people to see Christchurch City Council putting money back into the environment for Christchurch people to enjoy, for public access, instead of just people coming from overseas to go to a convention or to play sports or whatever, and I think that's a very big thing. I mean, as a businessman, I don't mind money being spent to attract people here, but the people who live here also need things as well.
doing a trial in the Avoca Valley plantings to look at using a biodegradable mulch product. We need, mulch is a good idea to keep weeds down and moisture in and so on. And we're trialling wool, which is a local product here, and looking at using that to carpet the ground and plant into it so that it keeps some weeds down, keeps the moisture in, but also we have to look at that it doesn't encourage frosting of the plants.
Here we are working on private property, but this is really the start of a community project through Avoca Valley, and why I'm particularly grateful to the Oderings is that they've had the long-term vision that this could be the start of a bigger project, and they've offered their help and their land. So I really do want to thank particularly Gavin, Robin and Russell, whose land it is. So thanks very much.
Well, today this is the first planting, the first part of enhancing this part of the stream, and this is to sort of kick the thing off, and hopefully people will see what's happening here, and we can then carry it on further downstream. Hope we can get the ball rolling. It's looking really good. 1,700 plants gone in here, a heck of a lot of soil brought in, and diggers and earthworks, and to prepare the site.
What is it?
It's a toy. Oh, that's moss. It's a wee bit of moss.
Not grow.
Yes, the moss will grow around the toy, and it'll give a little bit of protection to the roots. Put it in the hole.
Where will we plant the next one?
You tell me.
Essentially what we're doing here is more than just prettying up the stream or making it ecologically a sound place. We're also looking at the requirements for drainage and for flood control and erosion. Essentially what we've done over this particular length is we've cut back an area that had been filled over the years, which had narrowed the stream down and restricted its flow, and also tended to channelise it straighten the channel, whereas once before there would have been a wider margin and probably more a meandering type stream. So what we've done is we've attempted to cut back the banks to provide a greater cross-sectional area for flood flows, and at the same time allow us to plant a considerable number of different plants which are appropriate for the stream bed. Now those plants are going to act as I guess a friction or a break, if you like, to the water at the margins where we want to have protection during flood flows. That's the area that's most susceptible to erosion.
On these creek beds, you've got a bit more moisture, and as long as you've got a good sized plant with a bit of vigour, if you look after it for the first couple of years, they'll be right. That's the important issue. Just regular maintenance, got to be out there every 6 to 8 weeks, have a look what's going on, and just take whatever action you think needs doing.
We've got lots of people from the neighbourhood, from the community, and lots of kids, which is what we've thought in the meeting would be a good idea for this whole project to be part of. So it could indicate that that's exactly what's going to happen. If everyone's willing to participate in these projects, then that's successful, isn't it? That's what we wanted. And hopefully everybody will be able to use it afterwards.
And for future generations to come, that like up until now, the stream's been sort of neglected in a way. It's most probably to what it originally was, to where it is now. it's gone backwards from when I was a little kid, little boy, and I played in the stream. And it'd be nice to try and put something back into it and try and make it even better than what it ever was.
What we'd like to do is extend what we're doing here up into the hillside and into the farmland, because the Avoca Valley catchment is principally a rural catchment. It's not a largely developed catchment, so most of the runoff is coming from farmland. Now we can control the erosion on that farmland by reducing stock numbers up there, or by greater planting along the margins of the stream. That will slow the waters entering the stream, provide a sediment trap for them, and it'll also help slow the waters in the main channel itself as they tumble down through the hillside, because there's quite a steep hillside.
Well, 6 months ago the site was planted and the wool mulch was laid, a biodegradable wool mulch, but it looked pretty dense, but it actually hasn't worked out to be enough to suppress the weeds. So now we've got a team weeding and mulching, adding a bark mulch. Now that could have been done at the beginning, the bark mulch could have been put on at the beginning and helped get the light out, but it's being put on now after this weeding in the summer. And we'll see if that'll fully suppress the weeds. Yes, it's a bit disappointing the wool mulch hasn't worked on its own. I thought it would have, but well, these things happen.
This was started up the valley on one property and did a lot of work there and spent a lot of money on a little property, on a little front edge, and then you've moved from there down to here where a lot more money was spent, and you're going to have $100,000 to spend. It's going to cost $1 million to do this right up the valley. That's what I think, really. You've set a precedent of what you're going to do and what you're going to spend, and I think if you're going to do it right through the valley from bottom to top, there's $1 million or more to be spent. And that's why I thought it should maybe be discussed and sorted out a little further.
What did you think about the public workshop and the fact that we do have regular stream care group meetings? And you're very welcome to come to those.
I think they're good. I've only been to the one, but I do think that it's to be chatted about. There's no doubt about that.
Well, we're hoping this project kicks off with some land we own up bordering Mary Duncan Park, because we have a half-kilometre boundary with the park itself. And we're hoping that council, who are very interested in doing something, in creating a wetlands area up there, because across the road, our neighbours are doing all industrial development. So we're hoping if we create a belt running right from the estuary right through where we're standing now, and it's approximately probably 3 kilometres up from here to there, and that will create a refuge running right down along the motorway. So, and we'll shield the valley a little bit too. We'll stop the development moving too close into the Heathcote Valley. At the moment it has a fantastic little village atmosphere, and we're hoping to retain a lot of that.
It also actually helps promote growth.
Winter. This is the first time I'd met Gavin, and it really was heartwarming to see that there are people who do care about the environment, and there are people who do care about restoring the waterways and replanting in native, that word native, in native grasses and shrubs and trees. Why? Because they bring back the native fauna and flora, the birds and the life in the streams. And that's why it's important, because New Zealand has plants of its own, and these plants need to be replaced back in the environment because they kept the environment safe. They kept the environment safe, and the environment was assured that all the creatures living within it and the plants were able to grow and flourish. And the symbiotic relationship between each species and people, yeah. If the environment was healthy, so was people, yeah.
What would you like to see here? Would you like to see lots of houses?
No.
Would you like to see some wetlands?
Yeah.
And what would live there? You have to tell Rachel.
Come and tell me.
What would live in the wetlands?
Birdies.
Yeah, lots of birdies. Would the pakekos come?
Yeah.
And the ducks?
Yeah.
And what about some whitebait?
Yeah.
And lots of fish?
Yeah.
So we can go fishing. Not much.
From the research that we've done and the learnings from that and the information that we've pulled together, there's some clear implications for the future, and I'd see the future as learning from the wisdom that we've managed to be able to pull together, and the knowledge we've been able to pull together in that, and the future one is one of restoration, one of health and one of vitality, and the waterways are an excellent source for that, and also being a part of a network there, the whakapapa, and the network for that is important. And I think we're at this point we need to learn from those customs and traditions and develop a path for the future based on those. Yeah.
Now, if we look at healing and as part of the overview for Avoca Valley, perhaps we can look at some of the other people's programs or people's development options, like look at the source of the springs, and maybe the people here can then become the guardians of the springs and look at healing in its different forms.
The water sources are crucial to any sort of inhabitants, and we've got to really put a lot of emphasis on preserving the quality and the health of the water, and it is input like that and more of it that we need, that would make any decision making much more valuable.
The community, the council and all the people associated with Avoca Valley have been talking about the future of this place, and I think there's some important things that are coming out for the future, and one of them is protection of what we've got, restoration, restoring the natural area and the heritage of this place. And I think probably the key thing that's happened here is the need to come together as a group and discuss this future. As it stands, there are no strong indications about what the future for Avoca Valley will be. There are discussions about rural subdivision, future of the horticultural industry, all the people that live here, and the City Council's role, the Pony Club's role. We're all involved, and it's only by bringing these groups of people together can we start to look at a shared common vision. Who knows what the future's going to be? I don't know. And position yourself somewhere around here.
Anyway, don't worry, kid. Oh,
Wait! Oh, Marty, no, wait! You gotta get the killer bugs!